Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Ift. Welcome to the show, which is now available on YouTube, FaceTime, Instagram Live, I think, Instagram TV. I don't know. You can see me on video. This is what I'm doing. The show is on video now. Each and every week, we are going to bring you the show for 400 and some episodes. We brought it to you audio-wise. Now we're adding the video component. It only took us 8 years. 8 years to do this. We've done a few episodes like that. It is the pandemic time, so I have the pandemic haircut. How do you like the mullet growing out the back? That has to get cut off badly. I appreciate everyone who has stuck with this show through thick and thin over all the time that we've the changes, everything. Those of you that really help the show, you go to our Patreon. Our Patreon is such a big help to us. Go to our Patreon. You guys can get yourself, this is great now with the video component. I'm going to be able to show you a leopard claw and show you a Maya Pux. That's what you can win if you donate just $5 a month. That's almost $1 an episode. Give $1 an episode, you can get yourself an electronic muscle stimulator that is so good for rehabilitation, makes your muscles work without injuring tissue and bringing blood flow to the area of injury. And the leopard claw does something different. You scrape your area of injury to kind of scrape up all the adhesions in there to same thing, bring muscle flow there. So join our Patreon, and $5 a month, you can get yourself a myopux and a leopard claw if you're the one of the lucky few. So let's look right now and see who our winner is of the Patreon. Where's your name, dude or lady? Patreon. Where are you? I'm looking. I should be on the Patreon page, but I'm not. We got a great episode today with one of the top, I think he's number 6 in the world as of last year, number 6. And that is, there it is, Patreon. No, Jacob Heppner, number 6 in the world, is our guest today. I've always been a big fan of Jacob for a long, long time, and always wanted to have him on the show. And I thought, I'll go get him when I'm in. There you are, Zachary Moon. Zachary Moon is our winner of Patreon. Congratulations. So, guys, you could be like Zachary. All you got to do, donate at least $5 a month, get yourself in this drawing, and you will probably, if you ask me, you're probably going to win. So we're really trying to build up this Patreon. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Ritual Zero Proof. When I say zero proof, I'm talking about the amount of alcohol in it. This is awesome. It's an incredible idea. It's a long time coming. I'm surprised someone didn't do this sooner. But there's a lot of people out there that don't drink alcohol. I don't like to drink a lot of alcohol myself anymore. Can't handle hangovers. If I want to train, there's no way I can train with having any. I'm always trying to eat the best foods and drink the best things, so why would I just put alcohol in me? But I also love tequila. So what do? Ritual Zero Proof. I'm telling you, it's out there now. It's crafted of all-natural blend botanicals. Ritual whiskey, gin, and tequila alternatives deliver the flavor, aroma, and burn of classic spirits, but without the alcohol. So if you're one of these people, say you're a pregnant woman, say you're a former alcoholic, or say you're just a hardcore workout-aholic that doesn't need alcohol in their life, have a cocktail and it's a mocktail. It's Ritual Zero Proof. You're going to get the best tasting liquor there is without the alcohol. Simply substitute Ritual in place of liquor in your favorite cocktail, like a whiskey sour, a margarita, or a gin and tonic. There are 0 calories in the tequila and gin, and there's only 10 calories in the whiskey. They're all natural. They're gluten-free. They're non-GMO. They're enjoyed by athletes everywhere as an alternative to liquor to promote better hydration, endurance, and recovery. Huh? Think about that. Better hydration, right? Because when you're drinking alcohol, it's crushing your hydration because it's diuretic. There's no alcohol in this, so you're having a drink. You're having liquid. This is filling you up. And not to mention the immunity boost that comes along with drinking less. Come on. Like, we all could use that right now. So here's what you're going to do. Go to Ritualize Zero Proof. Ritual. Ritual, 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 Zero, ZERO, Proof, PROOF.com. That's ritualzeroproof.com. Use the promo code WODCAST. You're going to get 20% off your first purchase. How about that? So go to ritualzeroproof.com. Use the promo code WODCAST for 20% off your first purchase. Ritual Zero Proof. Enjoy the ritual without the alcohol. Dude.
Let's get it.
Good to see you. I'm glad to have you on the show. Always wanted you on the show. And I used to go to Kansas so many times. I'd go to Kansas City once or twice a year. And I was like, I'll just get him next time I go to Kansas City, because I used to work at this comedy club called Stanford and Sons. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, next time I go, I'm going to track him down, because you were out of town the one time I was there. I was like, next time I go, I'm going to track him down. And then the guy that owned it died, and the club went out of business.
Where's Stanford and Sons in Kansas City? Is it Zona Rosa?
It always moved, because the guy, I don't feel bad talking about him, because he was almost like a character of like himself, of like making fun of himself. But he's like a legendary Kansas City guy, because he went to jail a bunch of times. Like, there were 3 brothers. They're all dead now. All 3 of them, like, one was a meth head, one was a crackhead, and one was like heroin. And they were in and out of jail, and everything was corrupt. Like, you'd go to the comedy club, there would be fist fights, and they were super racist, and they're like, you'd hear the brothers like yell to each other, like seating the show. They're like, Craig, I got a whole group of black people. Where should I sit them? You know, like they were just the worst. Like, they were characters. They were so funny because they were just so wrong. It was like, this can't. Yeah. It's 2019. This can't still be happening. And and no comedian wanted to work there, and I would go just for the amusement. I went every time. I was like, every time I had stories, I would film them. I was like, this is incredible, because there aren't people like this anymore in the world. But Craig, yeah. The owner, died, so now I got to have you on Zoom.
Yeah, because you were going to come here to Kansas City, then COVID happened. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean that took my touring schedule is gone. It's non-existent. Sure. And now I'm like, Mr. Mom, I'm home with the kids all day long, and I can hear my daughter out there, and I'm going to tell her to shut the doors to the bus. Izzy, yep. Shut the doors to the bus. Yeah, this is a real professional show I do here. No, shut them. Shut them. Good job. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Hunter McIntyre says hello. I was with him yesterday. I did.
Oh, yeah. You a big kiss for me? Big wet kiss?
I did his 20-part workout. It's just stupid. Just absolutely stupid. Idiot. No, it's. I'm going to put down his workout template right now, because I made a bet with him, and I have to do ads for him if he wins the bet. And
okay.
So I've got to do 4 weeks of ads for him, and he does. Look, if you're like you, I'm sure his workouts are great. But I'm an old man, and he had me squatting. Then, like, we did squats for a long time. Then we did shoulder press for a long time. Then we did sled pulls, push-ups, bike, pull-ups. I was like, dude, this is more volume than a games athlete does. Like, why are you doing this to me? I think he just does it to, like, impress me.
Yeah, tomorrow, the next day, he was just dead. He probably just laid around. He's like, oh, God, it was so bad. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Oh, and he wore a weight vest while he did the whole thing. He's like wearing a weight vest while he's doing seated shoulder presses. I'm like, this doesn't help.
It was, I remember when he first showed up at my house. Hadn't met him before. He and I both, at that time, were both working for Fit Aid as athletes. And FitAid was like, hey, we got this guy named Hunter McIntyre. He's coming around for open workouts in 2018. He's doing open workouts with different athletes. We want to send him to your house. It should be pretty fun. I said, okay, I don't know who this guy is. Old boy shows up, gets out of the car like in the middle of Kansas, leather jacket, you know, with the just I don't even know how to explain. He looked like a dork, you know, like. But the thing about people in my life is that the people I love in my life are the people that know they might be a little bit different, but don't care.
Yeah.
They do it anyways, and those are the best people because that's the thing about Hunter. He doesn't apologize for who he is. He gets out of the car, you know, with a videographer looking like come out of like he deserves to be on a Harley in the 70s. And I'm thinking, who is this guy? But we just hit it off. I love the dude to death. So.
He is. That was kind of it when I first met him. He came on our podcast, and I wasn't impressed. And then I don't know. It was some other guy told me about him, but he's hilarious. I've the bet we have is that I'm having Corey Belmore, who is the world record holder of the beer mile. Guy runs the beer mile in 4:24.
Okay.
4:24. 4 beers.
I can't drink 4 beers in that time.
I can't either. I really don't think I could chug 4 beers in 4:20. I could maybe 4:24. Hunter, I know Hunter did it. The first time he tried, I know he did it in 8.5 minutes. I know he did. He's telling me he can crush 6 minutes. I go, you're not going to break 6 minutes. He's like, if I do 6 minutes, you give me 4 ads on the show. You got it. You got 4 ads for your training program. So I cannot wait to watch him try to do this because
he better film it. I mean, look, if CrossFit Games is going to give Adam Klink the whole marketing for the 500-pound back squat and 5-minute mile, which is impressive.
Yeah. Then
I definitely want to see Hunter McIntyre do sub-6 with a beer mile because he is also a CrossFit Games athlete. That would be very entertaining to watch.
He is a CrossFit Games athlete with an asterisk.
Hey, he's been in the CrossFit Games. I mean, you might want to say with an asterisk. Well, then you better give it to every other national champ that showed up, any other CrossFit Games athlete that couldn't make it past the first event, which Hunter did.
That's true.
So I mean,
that's true.
You know,
I mean, you were pushing for him. You were very supportive of him, and you know, I pushed as hard as I could to get him in there, and I really to this day think that if he was a little smarter on how he did that round, he would have gone through the next round too with the ruck, and you know, and then he would have been sitting a lot high. Like we all, you know, estimated that he was 25th to 30, and that's that. Yeah. I mean, to go into the CrossFit Games and be top 30 in the world, that's really, really impressive.
Yeah, I was really disappointed. He took that handstand push-up block a little bit not as patient as he should have been. Because I was excited to see how far I could go. I like everyone in my sport, but I like seeing trash talking in my sport too.
It's amazing.
And I love Hunter McIntyre and I love Brent Fikowski, and I know they had talked some trash to each other. So I just wanted him to be around Brent Fikowski. I didn't know how far Brent was going to make it, or you know how far I was going to make it. But I just thought to myself, man, that would be some great content if Hunter beat Brent out. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I just thought the closer he can get, maybe the more people would be like, you know what? He actually didn't do too bad. But, yeah, he can't.
Well, it's like everybody knew McGregor was going to get beat by Floyd Mayweather. Everyone knew it was going to happen. It just – and there were these people go, no, maybe. And it's like, you're out of your mind. That's what Hunter was. He was McGregor fighting Mayweather. And that was a fun fight to watch. I mean, I got to be honest. Other than you and maybe like 3 other guys – CrossFitters are I do this show every week, are some of the boringest motherfuckers I have ever met in my life. And there's a reason for that. People that go to the gym usually are like attracted to the gym because it's like a way that they can get away from being social, and they work out and they work on their body, and then they go to like a nightclub where they see some other chick with like a really hot body and they just shake their heads and go, and then they reproduce. And like, so Hunter brought some energy to this thing. And I know there were like a lot of people on the side of like, hey, this is great. It's great for the sport. It brings this. And then there were a lot of people like, this is the worst thing ever. And I was like, you have no idea. Like, why is wrestling, the number one form of entertainment in America? And it's fake. It's all fake. And people love it because it's entertaining. And he was just bringing entertainment to it. So, but I'm hoping some more entertainment comes. And I'm thinking without Glassman there, well, Glassman was pretty entertaining, but
in his own right. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I are we now allowed to talk? I mean, you're not probably because everybody's like still scared, but even me, I was like afraid sometimes. Like, can we talk about how much that guy used to booze now that he's gone?
Yeah, he wasn't, I think from my perspective, a company needs leadership that reflects the company. Like a company can only do as well as the ideals and values of a company roll down from a leader. So you need a leader to control a company. And if a leader gets away with certain things, does certain things that you and I may or may not agree with, the company will reflect it. And in that case, this is Jacob's very generalized statement. In that case, that's what CrossFit did. And it wasn't in a good fashion. And I think Greg did an awesome job. Without Greg, we wouldn't have CrossFit.
No. The guy had an incredible theory and that happens a lot of the times. Like people come up with a great idea, then they hire a CEO to run their company. And I think, this owner was just a little like, I don't know. I'm torn on if he did anything that wrong or, I don't think he's a racist guy by any means at all. I think he's done some amazing stuff, and but I think he didn't handle himself professionally. And this new guy, not only that, but the new guy, he walks the walk. Like he's got a Fran time of like 240 or something.
Yeah, he competed as an athlete. So from my perspective, it's nice to see someone that, I would like someone to have done CrossFit to buy the company. But to have someone that competes in it, that can relate with me, is even better.
Yeah. Is everybody running back to it now?
I'm sure they are. I never ran from it.
You're an affiliate owner, aren't you?
I am not. I will not own affiliate. Yeah.
Wait, but your sister, I worked out with your sister one time at a gym in Kansas City, and she beat the shit out of me.
Runs the family, I guess, huh?
No, but I mean, it was like, I think she was trying, I think I came in probably like, yeah, I'm a CrossFitter from California. And she was like, okay, good luck. And then she just,
she's from California too.
She just destroyed me. It was awful.
So she was a head coach at CrossFit Overland Park in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's where I was.
I have never and probably will never own a CrossFit gym. Mm-hmm. What I liken it to is it takes a special person to run a CrossFit gym. You have to be very emotionally connected to people, want to see people succeed, but also have to put up with a lot of stuff that I personally on a day-to-day basis don't have patience for. I know what I'm not capable of. And, sometimes putting up with, lack of better terms, sometimes people's crap is not something that I know I'll be good at and be very patient at. And so I'm not going to ever probably own a CrossFit gym.
So where'd you make your money before CrossFit?
I graduated with a degree in mathematics, bachelor's, worked for the Army up in Fort Leavenworth for a while. As a DoD civilian, then left that job after I got married and worked as a project manager for a web development company. I worked remote. It was located in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I still lived here in Kansas City, Kansas. And so did that job for about 3 years as a project manager. Loved it, learned a lot. Then last June, I decided that, you you got to take the shots. I decided, I think I can make a good go at this, being an entrepreneur and owning things. And I was tired of working. I had a great boss, don't get me wrong, but I was tired of making money for someone else and not making a name for myself. I decided I want to own something. I want to slate my name, and I know I can do it. And that's what we're doing now.
So what is it now?
Yeah. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Welcome to my life. This is about to either really impress you or really be like, how do you have this much time?
I can't wait to hear this.
All right. So currently right now, I have a programming company, Grit, which is my personal programming that I sell online, and also have pulled in other subject matter expert coaches to present programming on my platform, essentially in a profit sharing concept. right? So I liken it to Brute Strength is a great example of that. They do a great job. And I was a part of Brute Strength for a long time, loved them, loved what they do, and decided that's a great business model to follow. And so that's what I'm essentially creating, is pulling in subject matter experts to present programming online that are underneath my name, underneath my company.
Okay.
That's CrossFit Programming Online. Very simple. The next step is a nutrition company. So I part own a nutrition company that is solely based online. It was actually based in our gym. We had a nutrition company with a couple different people selling programming and helping people with macros. And it's like day-to-day conversations. Instead of like, hey, Eddie, this is what you should be eating. Good luck. It's a relational company where we call you every day, every week, whatever you need to make sure you're fitting what you need. And so I decided it was doing really well inside the gym. I decided, you know what, you need someone to help you push it out to the masses. And so I decided to buy into the company, and now I part own that. And then I'm in the process. I actually own 2 other apps in development and the third one upcoming. So it's 5 separate things. And of those apps, see which one's can I talk about? Because we're still in like NDAs. One of them I co-own with Scott Panchik.
Okay.
So that was going to be really big. It's going to be really great for the functional fitness space in terms of COVID and staying at home and connecting communities across the world and coaches. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about that one. It's going to be like an on-demand, live, and pre-recorded kind of concept app. So that's going to be really cool. So that's one with Scott Panchik. I'm also in the process of owning and developing an app that is essentially going to be very similar to SugarWOD. I kind of got sick of SugarWOD, any of these.
Oh, SugarWOD. I know SugarWOD. Yeah.
I kind of got sick of all these app companies and how they ran delivering online programming. I think someone needs to come up, give them a slight kick in the teeth, and take control of market shares. And that's what I'm doing there.
Okay.
And so we're doing something in that field. And then a separate app we're going to be starting pretty soon doesn't have anything to do with CrossFit and fitness.
Do you do the programming yourself? Do you build the apps, or do you outsource all that?
Yeah, but I usually pull in a developer to help out. So in terms of Scott Panchik and I working together, we are part owners with a guy who does development, so I don't have to do it myself.
Right.
When I worked for Esponte as a project manager, I led a team of developers, but did not develop myself.
Right.
So I can talk the talk, but I cannot actually develop myself.
Right.
And so that, or I hire out app companies, or the other part owner usually is a developer.
What was your job at the Department of Defense?
I was a mathematics technician.
Okay.
Essentially what it was is we use mathematics to help determine and help make informed decisions for the Army. So running models and sims and mathematical simulations on what's the best solution for a problem you might have. So a problem could be the Humvee sucks. How do we replace it? Okay, let's run some models and sims on what's the best replacement for the Humvee. Stuff like that. Boring math stuff. You know, stuff your teacher says, what am I ever going to use this for? And you're like, here's what you use it for, kids.
Well, I've never had to, but when a math problem comes about, I'm like, hey Siri, what is, Siri just turned on.
Oh, absolutely. But I think from my perspective, and I've told to other people, what you get your degree in college, whether it's math, English, history, I don't think it really matters. I think what it teaches you is to learn who you are and how to think outside the box. And
where'd you go to school?
Really small school, Central Methodist University. It's smack dab right in the middle of state of Missouri. Sorry, in Missouri.
Oh wow! So you went to a small school in another state, so you had to pay out of state fees. When you just
I lived in Missouri at that time.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Yeah. So it was in-state.
What's better, Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas?
Ooh, Kansas City, Kansas.
Really?
Guess where I live.
I feel like that's more of the farmlands, is it?
Yeah, that's what I like. I like to escape. That's why I live in the middle of nowhere. I want to escape people, be close enough to town.
I know we're the same way.
You're making a joke. You're making a joke about people go to the gym and they want to escape people. Yeah. I'm thinking, I can be extroverted if I need to, but would I like to be extroverted on a daily basis? Absolutely not. I got to save it for here and there.
No, I'm this. I as I was younger. The older I get, the more I'm like. We moved out to the country. We live up in the hills above Malibu, and now because of COVID, everybody's moving out here and coming out here. And I'm like, we got to go to Montana. we got to get out of here. We got to go maybe like northern Canada. We got to like find a place where no one is. I'm so sick of people.
For sure.
And it's happening. Like our houses in our neighborhood, people put their house up for sale, and it goes above asking the first day. The first day, everybody's houses are selling like crazy because people are just, there's a mass exodus out of the cities. And,
I mean, we sold our house last weekend, actually. We sold our house on Facebook in 3 hours over asking price. I was like, why am I going to pay a realtor for all the realtors listening? I love you guys, but I think your job is going to probably disappear pretty soon. But like, why do I need a realtor to sell my house? Why can't I take pictures myself, use social platforms? And I mean, yes, I understand they have a better network than me, but
there's a lot of my mom was a realtor, and there's a lot of bullshit work you have to do that I wouldn't want to do if I sold my house.
Well, we hired someone to do paperwork. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. But in terms of the network and getting it out there and showing it, I don't need someone to show my house. But the paperwork, absolutely.
Well, it's the same way in my business in like comedy and I had to have, when I first started in the business, the first thing I got was a manager. Manager takes 10 to 15%, depending on what you negotiate. Then I had to have an agent. And you can have different agents in different departments because I write, I act, I do voiceover, I do commercials, I do TV, I do public appearance, which is stand-up comedy. I'd have all these different agents. And they all take 15% or 10% of whatever they get me. So if my commercial agent gets me, they get 10%. But that's on top of the 10% my manager's taking. And then whenever a deal came through, like if a studio wanted to do a deal or something with me, there was a lawyer involved. So 5% from the lawyer. So I was looking at 25% off the top of everything I was doing practically. 25%, like if there was a big enough deal, 25% would go away right off the top before taxes. And, I'd get to write that off a little bit. That was part of a write-off. I'd write off the 25% I paid. But still, it was just like, when the internet came out, I started going, why do I need these people? And I still keep a manager, but I got rid of practically everything else. And if the deal was big enough, I'd do a lawyer. But there was no need for an agent. I mean, it was, and I remember it was funny. My agent and I had a falling out, and I left, and my work like tripled by doing it myself. And I was why did I have an agent?
So I had a manager for a while for CrossFit, and one of the biggest issues I have in my life that it could be an advantage or a disadvantage is I like to control situations myself. And sometimes it's a bad thing. A lot of times it's a bad thing. And I don't like to relinquish control to people. And when I had a manager, it was difficult for me, but I learned to do it. But then I found out when I decided to part ways with him that I could do it myself. Yeah. Like now, can Matt Frazier do it himself? No, he's probably got so much. I'm not Matt Frazier. I don't have random deals rolling in every single day. So that's different. And I get that. But like, you don't really sometimes need a manager. And I think what a lot of athletes forget when they have a manager is they forget how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many times I've heard stories from talking to companies and brands of them being like, you're the first person who just called us on the phone and talked to us. And I'm like, well, yeah, I just want to have a conversation. I want you to know that I'm real, that I'm sitting here talking to you, because half the time you deal with athletes or influencers or people who don't know how to either talk on the phone, refuse to do it, and you don't even know who you're working with.
Yeah, Hunter and I were talking about this yesterday because he always is looking for a manager to do, he's a real hustler.
Yeah.
And you have to be in this sport, especially, I was just talking to a buddy of mine who's a coach the other day. He coaches one of the top females, and he was talking about how much money the women make compared to the men, how they all do better. And I'm like, that's really weird to me. And Hunter and I were talking about it yesterday, and he's like, it's sex appeal. The women are sexier. It sells more. Women like exercise. There's more women that are out there trying to lose weight, get in shape. So they're going to buy whatever they buy. And I'm like, no. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me because men, in every other sport, men lead the way. I mean, I almost every sport. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some that women are bigger in it. But I just can't understand why, Matt Frazier makes all the money and then it trickles down to everyone else. It's, he is number one. He'll be number one for who knows how long.
Sure.
But, and there was Froning who was probably making a fortune. But it just seems like there's just more guys up there. And I think it's a little bit of that lack of personality, a little bit of like, where Hunter makes good money because Hunter is so flamboyant and such an asshole that people go, he gets attention. But for the rest of you guys, I mean, where were you? You're number 6 in the world? Are you 6?
Correct, 6.
Yeah, 6. And James is 5. James Newberry. You're two guys that should just be raking in the dough. Raking in the dough. I mean, it baffles me that you guys aren't all 7-figure guys from CrossFit. It baffles me.
So I'll address it a couple different ways. Number one, I understand why women make more in the sport. I would agree with you in that aspect. Usually the comparison, who did I hear this from? I think Cole Sager and I were talking about it, is usually when it comes to brands pulling in influencers or athletes like myself, usually the women in our sport are 4 times as big. So a good comparison is Cole and I can be compared to like a Brooke Wells. Mm-hmm. She's got like 1 million followers. And so if you divide it by 4, that's about where Cole Sager and I are at, which is a good representation. It makes sense. I actually, from my perspective, don't mind the fact that the women make more. I think it's actually a good thing because it's progressive in our sport to see, hey, the sport that I love and value actually loves and values women and the empowerment they bring to a lot of people, despite a lot of other different sports that don't value and don't pay them out as much. I mean, like, I think CrossFit was one of the first sports that said
equal pay.
We're going to pay, pay equal pay, which I love. And so if the women make more, I get it. Like,
I'm not saying like, oh, go men, and no. What I'm saying is,
I get it.
Women. It's almost like I'd like to see men make as much as women.
Sure. Yeah.
And
I get that.
And I don't. Looking at the psychology of people, why it is, and I get it's that sex appeal and that Instagram stuff, but I'm a big disbeliever in Instagram and Facebook and all the followers because I know from my business how corrupt that business is and how much people buy followers. People will leverage and spend as much money as they can to get as many followers as they can. And there's this herd mentality that all of a sudden when somebody has followers, everyone else starts following and they build an entire following based on like false pretenses. And then they're raking in the dough. And it happened in comedy. It was pretty bad for a while because there were guys doing that. They were just building these huge followings online. And then the comedy clubs would book them. And that's where the money was coming. And they were working all over the country because it looked like, on the internet that they had 1 million followers. Well, then they would do a show and only 50 people would show up. And it's like, well, what happened to your 1 million people? Where are they? Why aren't they coming to see you? And even the ones that were entertaining online, that doesn't naturally translate to stand-up. That's like saying, oh, because you play a flute in your underwear on Instagram doesn't mean that you can go play with the New York Symphony. You have to have, like, stand-up was like this different skill. So just because that whole influencer idea, that just because someone has 1 million Instagram followers and is a CrossFitter doesn't mean that they're that great at their sport. There's a couple out there. I don't want to say their names, but they've got
absolutely. But I think that's why companies have been rotating to look at engagement, right? And I guarantee what your comeback's going to be is, well, you can buy engagement, and I totally get that. You totally could. You're right. I think when it comes down to it, companies and brands need to refocus on how they pick people they want to work with, and that picking needs to be based upon, does Jacob Heppner or does Cole Sager or does whoever, Noah Olson, do their values fit the company? Do they have a personality that fits? I mean, sometimes companies don't care about that, and that's fine. Depends on what company you're working with. But I think there's going to be, you're correct. There should be more than just numbers based upon numbers. It should be more than just what is the number in front of the K or the M on your Instagram say, and what is the more than engagement.
I also think it's an undervalued sport. I think if you look at athletes in other sports and the amount of endorsements they're getting, and then you look at like the amount of followers you guys have are up at professional athletes of like more like take any baseball player on a baseball team. You know, the top 3 players will probably have more numbers than you guys. But after that, no. You know, like and so, you know, the amount of their contracts, and I guess you can say their contracts are coming out. If I'm going to get killed for this. People are going to write to me and be like, you're an idiot. Their money's coming from ticket sales and the television sponsorship of the TV deals of those games. So, but there's still the endorsements, I guess you can say, because of the TV time they're getting of the endorsements. But I don't know. I just feel like I think there's still an undervalue.
Sure, I get that. But I think, since I love playing devil's advocate, I think from an athlete perspective, what I tell a lot of younger athletes or current athletes is I respect Matt Frazier not because and Brent Fikowski, not because Matt Frazier and Brent Fikowski win. I respect them because they're wise. And they're wise because of how they make money, because they know that Brent Fikowski or Jacob Heppner or Noah Olson is one broken leg away from never competing again.
Sure.
Now, Matt might be a bad example because if he breaks his leg, he's set up for success the rest of his life. But what I think a lot of athletes need to understand is that if you're living off of what you make as winnings, if you're only making money because of what you make at the games or what you make in Dubai or what you make from the Open or whatever the heck it is, you're an idiot. You need to be able to take your platform, the stage you've been giving, and then turn that into something that can substantially sustain you after you're done competing.
Sure.
And a lot of athletes will go through their whole CrossFit career, won't do that, will leave the sport, and then realize, oh, well, now I got to figure this out. And
that happens in every sport. Though.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I'm not saying this to be like, well, you're an idiot. Sometimes it makes me feel sad for them. Like, I really wish you would have done something else.
Oh, I mean, I follow pro surfing a lot, and you see the pro surfers, like the majority of them, when it's over, and you're like 6 years later, they're working in a surf shop, and you're like, really? You were like a celebrity, and now and then you see a couple other guys who, you know, they do well while they're in it, you know, and they figure out and they invest in something, they create a company, and they're entrepreneurial, and that's, I think it just takes the type of person, because some people can't, like, they just want to focus on their sport and they want to win and they're in the now and they're like, this is all I want to do and I just want to focus and do this. And then there's other people who also fail at business. You know, they try and try and try, and it's just not their thing. Like, just because they're great at sports doesn't mean they're great at business, and they fail a lot.
True. And that's what I'd say, pull in a manager or an agent and then figure something out. How can, you know, Brent's a bad example because he has the professor project. He does it. He's really smart at what he does. But like Brent would be an example of maybe Brent's not good at owning a business, which he's not. But if he was, hey, I need to pull in a manager. Let's figure out when I'm done, how can I capitalize on my time in CrossFit?
How are you training still with this schedule with all these different things you're working on?
Yeah. I mean, I train as normal. I have.
Does that take priority? Does training take priority?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's who I am right now. Takes priority right now. It will, of course, at some point in my life, maybe the next year or so, start to rotate to look a little bit different.
How old are you now?
Focus on 30.
Okay.
Yeah. So it takes priority, absolutely. But the beauty of what I've done and what I've learned is I've learned that I can't do everything. I know what my time's worth. And I delegate and have a really good team behind me. So I have a really great team in every company I run that does a good job and is invested in the company because they want to see it succeed, because if it doesn't succeed, it's not just my paycheck, it's everyone's paycheck. So I have surrounded myself with some really successful, very intelligent people that love doing their jobs. And so being able to delegate to them and trust them has been huge for me because, I can't sit on the day-to-day activities of some of these companies because I don't have time for it.
So what do you think the window is of a CrossFit Games athlete? I mean, like, I'm not saying, obviously there's going to be outliers and people be able to do it till they're I don't know how old.
Sam
Like,
Briggs.
I feel like, Bill Grundler could probably still, like,
Yeah.
Bill Grundler's
Throw
like
down.
86, and he could probably still, he'd just miss the cut. I like to think I'm an all-natural guy, and I believe in having clean options. I support companies who innovate products that break the norm and help clean up, just my daily routine. That's why I love Native. Native is my deodorant. It is my deodorant. I use it. I claim it. I think it's the best stuff in the world. My wife, maybe she discovered it, but now it's mine. And I tell everybody it's my deodorant. And if you want to wear it, you have to say you're wearing my deodorant. No, it's Native. Native, they make the best deodorant there is. It doesn't just block odor better. It's made better. Native has ingredients you've heard of like coconut oil, shea butter, and tapioca starch. That's about it. It's also vegan, and it's never tested on animals. Here's the problem with a lot of deodorants. Aluminum forms a plug in your sweat glands that keep you from sweating. Native never uses ingredients like aluminum. Never uses parabens, never uses sulfates, never uses talc. None of those things are good for you. Native doesn't use them. Native only uses good stuff. Switching to an aluminum-free deodorant doesn't mean you have to sacrifice on odor protection. I smell damn good. That's right. I smell amazing. Native's going to keep you smelling and feeling fresh all day long. They got over 10 scents, including rotating seasonal ones. It's kind of like Starbucks. They bring in the pumpkin spice lattes. Native has something for everyone. Their most popular classic scents are coconut and vanilla, lavender and rose, cucumber and mint, my favorite, and citrus and herbal. I use a few different ones. I'd go with cucumber and mint, though. Start with that one and try them all because they're all amazing. It's risk-free to try. Every product comes with free shipping within the U.S. You got to be within the U.S. Plus free 30-day returns and exchanges. So see why so many other people love Native. Check out how they have over 14,000 five-star reviews. Okay? Do what I did. Make the switch to Native today by going to nativedeo.com/wadcast. That's nativedeo, D-E-O. Nativedeo, DEO.com/wadcast. Or use the promo code WADCAST at checkout to get 20% off your first order. That's nativedeo.com/wadcast, or use the promo code WADCAST to check out. You're going to get 20% off, and you're going to smell good, feel good, and you're just going to love Native. So my work schedule's been rather hectic lately, and I'm noticing it's starting to really wear me down. And even when I'm getting all my workouts in, practicing meditations, doing whatever I can to keep my stress levels low, I find I still feel like I'm stressed. No one likes feeling stressed out, and even worse, how it can affect the people closest to you. But lately, I've been doing something a little different, and it's been helping me feel great again. A friend of mine who recently recovered from an absolute burnout told me it wasn't time off, or rest, or secret relaxation techniques that saved him. This is where it gets interesting. He said all he did was add in a mineral to his diet based on his doctor's recommendation. Okay, I was hooked, so I asked him, of course, what's the mineral? What is it? He told me he was recommended to superdose with magnesium. You see, magnesium is the fourth most abundant mineral in the human body. Since this nutrient is responsible for 300 to 600 different biochemical reactions in the body, including metabolism, when your levels are low, you struggle with sleep, energy, metabolism, pain, and stress. You can get magnesium from certain foods like black beans, nuts, avocados, spinach, many more. But if you really want to make sure you get enough magnesium for what your body needs, I recommend using a supplement in addition to these foods. Now, before you go and start researching magnesium supplements, know this. Most magnesium supplements fail to help you beat stress for two primary reasons. One, they are synthetic, unnatural, and not recognized by your body. And two, they are not full spectrum, meaning they don't have all 7 forms you need. So today, I want to introduce you to the best magnesium supplement I found. It's the most potent, complete, first full spectrum magnesium formula ever created. It's called Magnesium Breakthrough. Magnesium Breakthrough is a complete formula that includes naturally derived forms of all 7 forms of supplemental magnesium and doesn't contain any synthetic additives or preservatives. This is the most potent oral magnesium you will ever find, period. Many people notice a sense of calm, relaxation as their nervous system and stress levels are soothed, and better sleep is often observed within the very first week if used daily and as instructed. Most people use Magnesium Breakthrough in the morning to help them stay calm and resilient to stress throughout the day. And within 3 to 5 weeks, most people experience a level of peace and serenity that they haven't felt in a very long time. I highly recommend trying Magnesium Breakthrough for at least 30 days. See how it makes a difference in your mood and stress levels. Today, you're going to get 10% off with special Wadcast podcast coupon code when you visit magbreakthrough.com/wadcast and enter the code WAD10. That's MAGBREAKTHROUGH/WODCAST. Use the coupon code WAD10. Once again, that's magbreakthrough.com/wadcast and coupon code WAD10. Okay, so I was saying Bill Grunler or someone like that. No, not Bill, because he's been out a while. But how old's Matt right now?
He's my age. I think we're both 30.
Okay, so you guys could probably go a number of years. But what do you think is the age where it just starts to? What do you think you got left in the tank?
I think it comes down to person. I mean, yeah, I think it comes down to person to person. I think you're asking a really generalized question. Like, it's going to come down to, really what do you want to do? Like, personally, I don't really want to compete as a Masters. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think 32, 33, I'm done. And not because, I'm done competing. Now, what I've told a lot of people is I would love to announce, I would love to commentate, I would love to do any of these things and give back to the sport, because the sport has given me everything. But I think it's going to come down to person. Like Noah, for instance, is a great example. I know Noah wants to compete for as long as he can. Mm-hmm. Noah's the kind of person that just absolutely loves it. Like, he loves the camaraderie, the community. I'm not saying I don't love it, but I think from his perspective that competing is really who Noah is. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not who I am as much as Noah is.
Sure.
And so it's just a difference of athlete to athlete. But I think Noah will probably compete as long as his fiance will let him.
Yeah, but he says that now, but he's still young, and that's you say that when you're young, and then your perspective changes. I said I'd never get married. I said I'd never have kids. That all changed.
Yeah.
But like, do you feel differently? Like at 30? I mean, I know how old I am. I didn't start CrossFit till I was in my late 30s, and I've been doing it like 10 years, 12 years, whatever. And I just look back at some of my times or and I'm like, like, really? Like, this age has really taken its toll. It like pisses me off, because I always look at people, hey, I PR'd and I'm blah, 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 or I'm this or I'm that. And it's like, yeah, that's great. But just overall, generally speaking, I've seen a decline, and it pisses me off. It might be because I have just extra shit in my life or whatever it is. But, soreness and everything. At 30, is there any drop off at all that you felt?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a drop in terms of recovery, and you can't do things like you did when you were 23 when you started, or 24 whenever I started. Like, you have to be a little smarter in the way you warm up, a little smarter in the way that you're like, okay, I can't do 1,000 wall balls today because I know my knees are going to blow sky high. Like, there's obviously there is going to be a degradation, and it's going to continue that way for sure. And it's just I'm just going to hope, in fact, that as my, as I get a little bit older, maybe I get wiser in how I approach a situation, whether that is nutrition or whether that is recovery. You just hope that those two are correlated. Yeah.
Well, because you're not, like, if you looked at you standing beside some of these guys, how tall are you? You've got
5'7.5".
Yeah.
5'7".
So you're right, almost in that perfect range. But you also, you're not like you and James Newberry. I look at you both, and you're not stocky and gigantic like some of these guys. and you don't have that, but you're able to move the weight just as well as them. And I'm like, where does that come from?
I don't know what you mean by one of those guys. I mean, I think the averages were 5'7", 190.
Would you say that what it is?
190. It's 5'7", 190 to 195. And I think on average...
Are you 190?
I'm 195.
Really?
Yeah, 190, 195. So I think on average, I am average.
Okay, so I would say you don't carry the weight like that. Like I would never look...
It's all my butt.
Oh, it is? See, I would not look at you like you're one of those big... Like if you look at Hunter right now, he looks so bulky, it's scary. He's just...
Well, he's also 6 foot,
but he's
6'1", whatever
But he's become bulky. Like,
sure.
Like you still look lean. And I don't. Same with James. I always look at James. I'm 170. I'm 5'10", 170. And I always, when I'm like standing next to James, I don't feel like I'm standing next to a monster. Where some of these guys, you just feel like they're a monster.
Well, I mean that's the difference in the sport, right? If all you wanted me to do was lift, then I'd be bulky. But if all you want me to do is swim and run, I'd be skinny. But because it's a mix of both of those things, I'm going to be a mix of both of those things. And then, of course, you'll see guys that'll toe the line in certain directions more than others. I mean, like, I don't know him personally, a super nice guy that I'm looking forward to competing with in a couple weeks. But the guy who won the Norwegian CrossFit Sanctionals, I think his Instagram handle is CrossFit4. The dude is massive. I've
seen him. He's massive.
He's massive. Bro. Massive.
Scary.
Oh, dude.
When I saw, I think they showed on Morning Chalk Up him doing some snatch or something where he had
something stupid.
But it was like all 10s loaded up too. It was like a snatch, and it was 305 or something, and he had like, it was all 10s, because I was like, is this guy about to lift like 600 pounds? What am I about to watch? And then I looked down at the number and I went, oh. I mean, that's impressive, but it's not. I guess it's just, he just kept loading up. But then I looked at him, and they're like, top CrossFit, and I'm like, how is this guy? He looks like Jimmy Fu or whatever. The dude that like kicks flamingos.
Yeah.
He looks like him.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the difference. Is like there are going to be people who toe the line in different directions, and that's just, they'll get to the sport, and I'm sure he's a great runner, but he'll get, if he makes it to top 5 or when we have the games in 2021, like there'll be some things he won't be good at. Like I can't out-snatch him. There's going to be a huge difference.
Right. What is your snatch?
Low.
What is it? Come on.
I think my all-time max is 270. But I think I weighed 205 at the time. I decided to eat so much cheesecake and food and just get over 200 pounds, and then I had to lose it for the Open. So
yeah, but you say that and act like you got to bulk up and be strong. But whenever you look at those Olympic guys, the like real Olympic lifters, like the ones that go to the Olympics, sometimes they're so like small and they just have such efficient movement. I watched a video of Chris Spieler power snatching the other day, just doing like reps, and the efficiency in his movement, it was flawless. It was like there wasn't the bar, the path the bar was moving. I was like, oh my God, like this guy should just teach a clinic in this. I mean, it's amazing how well he was doing it. And I mean, because he has to. The size he is, if he wants to move that weight, he has to. So, I think a lot of guys have proved that kind of thing wrong with I mean, sure, it's going to help if you're a giant, but I don't know. So why did you move? Did you sell that farm?
Yes, we had 10 acres of land. We sold it, and we bought 50 acres down the road.
Oh, okay.
We bought some acreage down the road, and we got a house on it that we're going to renovate. And in the process of renovating it, we're also going to build a barn, a much larger barn gym for me. And then also the house I'm going to die in because my wife's designing. It's like humongous. So I'm never moving and building ever again.
You say that. So, My in-laws.
No. This is there's going to be a room in there. I'm going to pick my tree out where they're burying me under when I'm dead, and that's it. I'm never moving. That's it. Like, it's ridiculous.
You can do that. I hate to be morbid and I hate to talk about death because it's like the thing I hate the most.
Who cares?
But they can. That's like a burial thing now, where they put you in whatever the bulb of the roots of the tree. They put your ashes in there, and they bury it, or they put it in the ground and let it grow, and then you're that tree. You're part of that tree, so people can walk by.
I don't really care about that. You can go throw me out in the dirt. I mean, I'm dead. Who cares?
I like the surfer thing. It's literally like we paddle out in the ocean and you just throw the ashes in the water. And later, dude. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, cemeteries creep me the fuck out. I hate them. I hate driving by them. I was in Telluride recently, and we were driving by, and there's the most beautiful houses in Telluride, and we see this one house, and I go, "Oh my god, that house is amazing!" And then I'm like, "Ew, its backyard is a cemetery," and I'm
That'd
like,
be so bad.
Like, how could you live there and just like wake up and look out and just be like, death?
Yeah.
The only way I find it acceptable is if they're like, oh, who lives there is like George Romero or some famous like horror films, guy. Because who else would? How could people be like, oh, I live near a cemetery, didn't bother me at all. I lived near where they made Dawn of the Dead. When my first house that I lived in as a kid, they made that horror film. I think it's Dawn of the Dead. The VA hospital in Pittsburgh's where it like happened. That was my backyard. I would look through the fence and I'd see it. And when I saw the movie, I was like, we got to move. We're like, let's go. I can't live here anymore. If you want me to have nightmares every night, pack up. Let's get the fuck out of here. I wanted to ask you about the military, though. How come you would work Department of Defense, but you had no interest ever being military? You look like you're in it right now.
Yeah, I've always said this since I was young.
Which I hate you for, because you have the best hairline, and you shave it off. If my God, I would look like the other part of Hall & Oates.
It's the joke is like the guys who care about their hair lose it, and the guys who could care less about their hair always keep it. Like I would love if my hair never grew and I could go bald. It would freaking save me so much time, but I can't. I know. But no, I was never in the military. It wasn't that I didn't want to join the military. It was the fact that I worked as a DoD civilian for them. So I was recruited and hired to work as a civilian for the Department of Defense for the Army. So it wasn't that I didn't have the option. It was just the job requirement was as a civilian.
Yeah. That's just a weird thing to go in, like work for the military and not be part of
contractor work. There's a lot of people. That work
yeah,
for
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
A
lot of people work for the Department of Defense that aren't military. I mean, I worked alongside a lot of people.
So. The people that make all the money, the real money.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember because I used to work in Dubai a lot doing comedy, and I would run into a lot of contractors that were going over there to work that were former military, and I was like, "What do you?" And they're like, now I'm making the money, And
private sector is lucrative. I mean, that can be said about any. I mean, that's like a high risk, high reward, right? It's what we're talking about. Like working for someone, you're capped, but if you can do your own thing and be your own boss, sky's the limit. But you got to be able to be like, I could lose it all, I could gain it all. It's 1 and 2.
Right. So let's get into it. What about this year's games? How do you feel about it?
From my perspective, if we even take this pandemic, this thing out of it, right? And you take the pandemic out of it, at some point you need to ask yourself, is it worth it, right? And not from a pandemic perspective, but from the perspective of, is the experience going to be the same? Look, I get why they're trying to have the games. They want to have the games. Personally, I think they want to have the games because they want to get paid by Reebok contractually.
Yeah, okay? A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, so I get that. You want to get paid your money. It's your last year. They may never come back. Who knows? But you have to ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the experience going to be the same? Now you're only going with 5 males and 5 females. And so last year there was a lot of naysayers concerning, okay, did we actually find the fittest? Like last year, I think they found the fittest on earth person. Mm-hmm. But the argument was, I don't think anyone argued that. The argument was, was the order of operations, was the order of the fittest people laid out, was that the actual order? Was the top 10 actually the top 10? because of cuts. Okay. So if you're going to make that argument about last year, then this year's got to be completely worse. Because, now we're going to do, and look, they're going to do something that's great. I'm not putting that down. I think they probably need to do something. Experience won't be the same. And I think sometimes you need to ask yourself, is it worth it? Maybe we should just pack up the bags and say, you know what? We'll see you in 2021. But I do honestly love the opportunity to compete and to do this online games and then hopefully qualify to go to Aromas to be top 5 if that even happens. I think, it comes down to Monterey County. They could just say, groups over 25 are canceled, and then they're done. You can't do nothing.
Yeah, so. It's funny, 5, 10, 15. I feel like the numbers are so random that it's like, well, sure, you're going to limit. You're the mathematics guy. Sure, you're going to limit it by the less people, but there's exposure no matter what. As soon as you're mixing, there's exposure. And 5 is way better than 500 people there. Sure. But if you're doing testing, if you're living in kind of a bubble for that time period, I don't see why it only has to be 5. It just doesn't make sense. You can do the tests are getting so accurate and so quick that they would be able to bring in enough people, bring in 20 or 40 or whatever it is, do the testing, live in kind of a bubble for those 4 or 5 days, that the safety would be there. And I guess it's that, well, then we'd have to bring in judges, and then we'd have to bring in, there'd be no media, or we'd need more media, and we'd need this, and
there might be media, but the fact of the matter is when we had the previous option that we're going to take 30 of us to Aromas, they sent out the rules for what it was going to look like, and I could bring one person with me. We shared a room. We could never leave the hotel room. They chose our hotel room, and they chose the hotel. We got given a room. We couldn't leave the hotel room unless we walked to the bus and went straight to the ranch, okay? So people had to bring us food somehow. I have no idea how. And my thought was, okay, whether you think this pandemic is as deadly as it seems or as not deadly as it seems, you either need to go all in and double down on efforts or don't do it at all. If you do it halfway, it doesn't do you any good to do stuff halfway. So either you make the athletes and that person who comes with them sit in a room and don't talk to anybody, but then you better also be doing it with all your judges, volunteers, media, and everybody else doing it. And I don't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's like, okay,
which is weird. You're exposing the athletes then to it. Like the athletes are the ones making all the sacrifice, and yet they're the ones getting exposed to it. So that's not fair at all. I see that happen in a lot of situations where people are like, oh, we're doing this or we're doing this. I'm like, nobody's doing this right. I mean, the White House is probably the only place where they are so – and still it sneaks in there. You look at New Zealand. New Zealand shut down completely, and they just had 4 cases. They had to shut down the whole country because 4 people got it 2 days ago. And so
do you think the economics in New Zealand are worse shutting down a country with 4 people? Do you want to like change this podcast into like let's talk about actual world issues?
I'll tell you this: New Zealand, most of their income comes from tourism.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. So you're saying they already shut down their economy then?
Yeah, their economy's shut down completely. I mean, I say to people who say they don't want to wear masks, they go, "Oh, I don't want to wear a mask." Blah blah blah. You're infringing on my freedom. I'm like, yeah, but your freedom's infringing on my freedom. Because if you would wear the mask and we could shut this down, then I could get back to my normal life. But you're not letting me get back to my normal life because you won't wear a mask. So when people go, it's my freedom, and I go, yeah, not if it's infringing on my freedom. So I don't believe that argument either, because masks do work scientifically. There's a reason doctors and nurses wear them all the time. My buddy's a cardiologist. I just talked to him the other day.
But I'm not arguing about the usability of masks. I'm arguing the economics in it. Like, is it worth it?
I don't know. That's hard. That would take lots of. I don't have the ability to do that, to sit down. I failed microeconomics in college. I wouldn't be.
I never took economics, so I can't even pronounce it. So you're good.
I'm confused. I was talking yesterday to a buddy of ours all about modern monetary policy and about printing money and how long we can just continue to print money. And he's like, forever. And I was like, what do you mean forever? And he's like, inflation will go up, but they adjust the inflationary measures and make it look something else. And people, because, forever they've been like, there's no inflation. Bullshit. There's been inflation. There's been inflation at don't tell me there's not inflation. I know how much I paid for something and now how much I pay for something. And it's gone up in pricing. So, I don't know about the economics of it, and I don't know how far we are off getting a vaccine and if that will be the solution to it. I read a lot about the Spanish flu of 1918, and how does it eventually die out? Does it just die?
Or it does it.
Yeah, it's.
Do we all just get it, and then it's kind of like the measles? Like, okay, well, now we've all had it. Or you're going to get it at one time in your life, and you either live or you die.
Funny thing about the measles is I have the measles vaccine as a kid. When we had our newest baby, they sent me to my kid's doctor said, go get tested to see if your measles is working, because there had been a measles epidemic in California. She goes, go check and see if your measles vaccine's working. And I went, huh? She's like, yeah, there's a test. Go, I'll give you the prescription, whatever. So I went to Quest. I get blood drawn. And they're like, yeah, yours doesn't work. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, your measles vaccine that you got years ago, it ran out. It's just not working. And I'm like, so there's people running around all over the place that are my age that think they're vaccinated, and they're not. So, how good are we at vaccinating? Everybody keeps going, the vaccine. Nobody's going to get that shit. Are you going to run in and go ahead, yeah, put some protein in me that is a dead virus or whatever it is, and that we don't know how this reacts or how long, and sure, it's the FDA approved, but how many commercials have you seen with lawyers that are like, hey, did you take Retin-A when you were, you want to make some money? It was FDA approved, but we can get you millions of dollars.
How deadly do you think this disease is? Like, if 150,000 people have died with COVID-19 in the United States, how many do you think actually died of COVID, and how many do you think actually just died of heart disease and happened to have COVID?
It's hard to say because people die of heart disease that have cancer. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Like their body's full of cancer, and they'll go, "Oh, he died of a heart attack." I don't believe that conspiracy that doctors and everything are writing COVID on everything to get more money. I just don't believe that. What I was going to go back to, my friend's a cardiologist. I just said to him, he was in his office wearing his mask, and I was like, so you haven't gotten it yet? Because I'm like, he said, I got 10 patients right now that have it in my hospital. And I said, you haven't gotten it yet? And he's like, no, nobody's gotten it. Like, no doctors, no nurses. No. And I'm like, why not? And he said this. This is just might be hearsay. He goes, he's like, you got to be around it for like 15 minutes with a mask off. You got to really immerse your, if your family member has it, you're sleeping in the same bed. I had a buddy, Johnny Mosley, the skier. His kid got it. He slept in the same bed with the kid for a while and didn't get it. His kid was sick, and it's I don't know how these viruses. I don't think anybody knows. The neurovirus is like one of the most contagious, infective things in the world. And this summer or this winter, Christmas, my little he was like 6 months old. My kid got it. And we just saw him puke, and we're like, what? That's weird. And then he puked again. He got diarrhea, and we're like, oh, no. And the next thing you know, my entire family started shitting and puking. Like, everyone, my dad, my sister, her kids, their kids. It spread. They were calling my kid, his name's Cruz, they were calling him Cruise Ship because he, infected everybody. And
Patient Zero.
Yeah, that's his nickname in the family. That's what they call him.
Yeah.
To this day, they call him Patient Zero.
Patient Zero, yeah.
I never got it. My daughter was puking out of the bed. I was sleeping in bed with her, holding her hair while she was puking, and I didn't get it. So, not saying I have this amazing immune system. I've gotten sick a million times in my life. I just think so much of this shit we don't know, and it's almost getting to the point. It's almost, as much as I want to stay safe and want everyone to stay safe, it's almost like throw your fucking hands in the air and go.
It's hard when there's so many dissenting opinions. I don't care. My thought is I'm from Kansas. I'm of course going to be probably fairly conservative, and let's just assume that you're from California, you might be fairly liberal, and that's fine. But it's hard for me to make informed decisions on things when there's so much different information out there.
But even misinformation coming from the sources
everywhere. So I want people that are listening. I don't want to ever make it sound like, because I'm right wing, I'm always going to be right, or if you're left, you're wrong. No, I don't care where it's from. It comes from everybody, all over. I don't know who to believe.
Because you had the CDC saying, do this, don't do this. No, do this. No, don't do this. We learned this.
CDC.
Yesterday, a new report coming out saying 6 feet's not enough. And it's like, UV rays kill it. UV rays don't kill it. Yeah.
It's really sad. I mean, I think 2020, when 2020 is over, we'll learn a lot of things about ourselves. But I just see a lot of perpetrating fear. There's a lot of fear out there right now. And all over the place. And whether that's from COVID-19 or whatever the case may be. And it's just, I wish for once we could all just band together and say, this is what's going to happen. This is what we need to do. You don't have that. And like we talked about in the beginning of the call, we need leadership that gives us a good way forward.
Well,
leadership rolls down.
I hope this. I hope that after the election's over, and I mean, it doesn't make it right, but I hope this is the truth so that we can get this behind us. I hope that this has been completely politicized and that it will die after the election, and that America, because people go, well, if it's politicized, what's happening in Europe and what's happening in China? And I'm hoping America led that media charge, and then all the media around the world kind of followed. And when America stops, the rest of the world will stop, and then we'll realize, it's not what we thought it was.
No.
And I hope it does go away. I don't know if that's true, and I'm not going to be putting myself out there saying that I'm a disbeliever. I just hope we're all wrong. I hope that everybody that thinks it's as deadly as it is, that they're all wrong.
Yeah, I think regardless is going to happen, I think by the time November happens, no matter what happens, I think this is going to become less of an issue because of whoever wins in office or whatever happens. But that's just my guess. Uneducated, math major, not a part of bacteria or has any degree in medical. That's just my thought.
Right.
Could be wrong.
Right. Yes. So where are you working out these days?
Cobra Command CrossFit. So we're back to CrossFit, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm working out in a gym that my buddy owns and operates.
Where is it?
And so we're right in Baser, Kansas. We're Kansas City, Kansas. We're like 35 minutes from the airport. Pretty much. So that's the gym that I work out every day, work from. And that's pretty much it.
I used to when at one point Stanford's was out at the Legends.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's like 10 minutes away.
Okay. So I forget.
Yeah, so the house I bought is like the property I'm going to own is like 9 minutes away from Legends.
Okay. Do you know that water slide at the Legends, that water park? There's a little water park.
The one that's like had the ride that got shut down. Yeah.
Did it get shut down? Why?
Schlitterbahns. Yeah, they had a Schlitterbahns, terrible name, built the tallest water slide in the world. It was the longest drop, the most vertical drop. Doesn't matter, whatever the heck it is. Okay, so it was like way the crap up there, super steep drop. Never did it. Okay, well, they put you in this like thing to send you down this thing or whatever, and they decide to like open up the, you know how usually they're plastic tubes.
Yeah. Well,
they decided to open up a part of it and put cargo netting, and they told you. Keep your hands and body inside the tube. It's going fast as crap, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was open for almost I don't know how long it was open for, a couple months to a year. And they had one kid who went down with his sister or something. It was a boy and a girl that went down. But for whatever reason, kid sat up or put his head up, got his head stuck, and decapitated him on the ride.
Oh.
Yeah. And so the worst part was, well, it's bad someone died, but for the bad part for the water park was that it was that day the whole park was closed and was only open to like Kansas legislators. And so the kid who died, like his dad was high up there or something, and that ride got shut down like that. It's now gone. The park's still open, I think.
Oh.
But yeah, it was pretty bad.
Because I remember they have the funnel one, which is which I've ridden at another one of those Wolf something.
Wolf Lodges.
Wolf Lodge. My wife was like, come on, let's go. Her and her friend, we got in this raft, and I was like, what is this? And it's like you shoot down something and then up into this funnel. It's like a half pipe, and you shoot up both sides of the half pipe. But I heard it was one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. I've jumped out of airplanes and bungee jumped and done everything. My wife's friend screamed a blood-curdling scream that I think only women have screamed when they've lost a child. Like, it was her scream scared me so badly that I was like, we're all dying. All three of us we dropped our death. Daniel Tosh has the funniest joke. It's a terrible joke, but it's a story about a guy was on a roller coaster, one of those roller coasters that you hang from, like they bolt you in and your feet dangle. Yeah. And somebody walked underneath the roller coaster, like on the other side of the fence or something, and the person kicked them in the head as the roller coaster came by and killed them, and they broke their ankle. And he's like, terrible, terrible. He goes, but imagine being that person, because everyone they run into wants to know, how'd you break your ankle?
Oh gosh, that's terrible. Poor guy. Oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is awful. All right, so who's all in and who's all out for the games this year?
I think everyone who was out is now all back in.
So everybody competing wise, so is it 20 are going in the online? 30.
20 online open qualifiers and 10 sanctional athletes.
Okay.
So 30 total. Okay,
so 30 total. Nothing gets you grandfathered from the year before. I think that's I kind of feel like if you won something, you should get a grandfather in. But how do you feel you are this year compared to last year?
Yeah, last year I went in with a little bit of a knee injury, and so squat snatching the first workout, I hadn't squatted in like a couple weeks leading into that, and so I feel a lot better. I mean, this year it's going to be here, right? We're going to do it here, and then from here we'll go there if I qualify. So it'll be different. It's not going to be the greatest. I mean, it's not my number one pick. I'd rather go to Aromas. I mean, because like you're obviously limited.
Do you do better with competition around you?
Well, sure. I think we all do better with competition around us, regardless. But I think I would do better there because of the equipment and movements that they'll allow you to do, right? So, like you go in person, they'll let you run. We can do rope climbs. We can do odd object. We can do hill sprints. We can do all these different things in Aromas that now you're going to be limited to very open-esque.
Yeah.
And so as soon as they announce that, hey, we're doing an online qualifier, my training changes to reflect the fact of the open kind of concept, right? Because it's going to be similar to that. It's not going to be, I don't need to ruck run. I don't need to swim right now.
And are you better at, like, I'm a big fan of, like, I say the CrossFit Games should be, you guys train the way you train, but then you come to the games and it's all stuff you've never done in your life. Like, they're like, here's a refrigerator, run it around a track, like, how are you going to get it there? And you're like, odd objects that you've never picked up before, weird kind of hills that you've never practiced on, things that are going to put you in situations to prove that you're fit, you're not skilled. I don't think it's cross skill, it's cross fit. And if we're going to see your fitness level, it actually could probably be dialed down by VO2 max, by strength, by all these things. But like things like the snatch, which we talk about, which takes tons and tons and tons of practice to be efficient at it and skillful at it, where a lot of these other things are just brute strength and cardiovascular fitness. And so I like whenever they do something like, we're going to fill up a wheelbarrow full of sandbags and throw them over. And are you one of those guys? That's where you excel?
Yeah, because I've used a wheelbarrow in my life.
Yeah, you're a farmer.
Just to poke fun of Noah, I don't think Noah had used a wheelbarrow. And so he got there. To clarify, I love Noah to death. But so when he got there, it's like, I mean, I grew up on a farm. It was a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, I think these odd objects are fun. Like, I mean, I think that would be a cool one in the past to do again, which I think would be cool. California can do it because of the topsoil it has. We couldn't do it here in Kansas because of our low topsoil. But in 2009, I don't know what it was, they did like a 500-meter row, and then you had the stake, and you had to put the stake in the ground.
Yeah.
So like a stake drive. Like, I get the whole, like, they hit the thing, what was it, the double banger they used in the past with slides. Whatever. The people who are going to drag it, give them a freaking stake. That's functional. Give them a T-post. Have them drive a T-post in the ground with a T-post driver, and then we'll see who uses their fitness. Yeah. But, yeah, it would be fun to do for sure. It'd be cool.
Well, I like it. That's, I'm buddies with Tommy Hackenbrook, and he seems like one of those guys that just he excels in things where it's, not your normal or typical – and
typical gym movement.
Yeah, and I like to see that because I want people. I thought CrossFit was a great way to get fit to do other things, and when it became a sport, it was like, well, at least make it exemplary of that, not and it became people CrossFit to CrossFit, and it was like, well, that's we're competitive exercising again. Let's take guys that use their exercise to become great at everything, because that's what was so great about CrossFit, that you could then do all these other things.
Yeah.
And, I think they've been good with that. They add a couple, and the game starts to get, obstacle courses and things like that. And they're more fun to watch than anything else. When you watch, Mary or Helen or something, unless, I don't know, they're kind of fun, but when you have giant forearms like you, long forearms, and you can't do handstand push-ups, I had to get it out there. I wasn't going to.
Yeah. Hopefully, it doesn't come back in this online qualifier. I'm gonna.
I know. I don't think they'd ever let that happen because of that. Such a weird thing.
Yeah. I was like, okay, you're gonna do it on my hands and measure my forearms. Cool. I'm gonna do it on my fists. Now let's see if you want to say something about it. Like,
what is the thing again? I knew this whole situation, but what is it again? What is long on you? Your forearms?
Well, it's not necessarily the idea, this defined terms. Like, it's not long. It's just long in comparison to the rest of my arm. So, like, what they're doing is they're saying, okay, let's measure how long your forearm is, and then let's base how far you should go up on a handstand push-up. Okay. Well, that's like me telling you, hey, solve this equation, and there's two variables. You're like, I can't solve it. I can give you a range, but I can't solve it. So it's great, because what they're saying is, let's measure this portion of your arm and say how high you need to go. Well, they're taking out of concern how big this portion of your arm, how long it is. It's again, solving an equation with two variables. You can't do it. I mean,
did you protest that at all?
I mean, I said I didn't agree with it, but I mean, protest? No, I just said this was not well thought out.
Yeah.
Which probably didn't go over very well.
Yeah.
But then they brought it back, and I thought to myself, they're going to bring this back. I said, you know what? There's nothing in the rules that says I can't do it on my fists, which gives me an extra like half an inch to an inch. But granted, it's a deficit now. It's a deficit handstand push-up for me.
Right.
So it makes it more difficult, but it gives me height on that stupid line because of my forearms.
Do you practice on your fists now? Don't lie.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I only do it for the open. I mean, we might now because it might be coming out, but like, I don't do it during the year. I did it leading up to it to say, if this comes out, I want to be prepared for it.
Oh, so you know how you can do them on your fists?
Yeah, I did it this year's open on my fists. The handstand push-up workout with 21:15.9 of deadlift and handstand push-ups, I did it on my fists, all of it. It was hard. It was painful.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be really rough.
Not fun.
Well, I've been campaigning for the last 6 years to get the handstand push-up taken out of CrossFit. Yeah,
it's one of the most difficult movements to judge. There's a lot of leeway in it, and there's just no way. Like a push press, a barbell makes more sense because it goes overhead.
But like you're a competitive athlete and are really good at it. But I say for the average gym goer, it's a dangerous movement. There's too much spinal compression. I think people coming down slipping or not being able to like go into exertion and all of a sudden their muscle fatiguing and them giving out and coming down on their head even if you're on an ab mat, it's not good for your spine. That's not that. Yeah. And so just do a push press instead. That's what I would say. And so I just don't understand that. Yes, there's a lot of dangerous movements in CrossFit. I just think that's one where you're really going to fuck up your spine. And I've talked about it and had enough people write in that said, "Oh my God, this happened to me. I broke, I slipped a disc from it. I that," and they came in endlessly. I mean, I've got so much feedback on that it's like, guys, it's a dumb move. It's not worth it. It's one movement. Don't have that much pride. Just get rid of it. And maybe let the competitive guys do it. But I don't see it. I think most gym owners are smart enough, and I don't see them, prescribing it in workouts anymore. So I'm glad to see that.
We do.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they're going to use it in the open, why not?
But again, you're saying because the open, fuck the open.
That's going to happen. But
the dumb shit Hunter had me doing yesterday. The whole day I was going, I'm going to be hurt tomorrow, and I'm going to be so fucking mad at him.
I'm gonna be so mad at Hunter Madden. Hey, I got 5 minutes, then I gotta jump.
Good. Well, I was just about to end it. I needed you to we do Paint It Forward every week. Someone gives a workout. Okay. I forget what Noah Olson's was. Noah's was brutal, and you could only get through like one round of it. And he only got through like one round and a couple things. I'll give you an example. I like them. They're funny. Like if you just said to me 600 handstand push-ups for time. No, Logan Aldrich, the one-armed CrossFitter, he gave us your body weight deadlift up to 200 and I think it was 200 reps. And you start with 1 rep, 2 reps, 3 reps, 4 reps, 5, up till 200. I think it's like 21 reps or something, or 21 sets you have to do.
Also, yesterday we did 30 shoulder overhead at, 30 push press at 135 and 95, 15 muscle ups and a 500 meter row. And then you go back through it, 20 push press at the same weight, 10 muscle ups, 500 meter row. And then finally, 10, 5, and 500 meter row. The time cap is 10 minutes. That's what we did yesterday.
Okay, so that is your Paint It Forward.
That's my Paint It Forward.
Somebody gave us one yesterday that was brutal. They wanted like 100. I lost it. I've lost everything on my email. I don't know.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is like these people might give you a brutal workout. Noah's an exception, but they might give you a brutal workout and they've never actually done it. Like
no, this guy did it, and I've got to find it before we go. He sent it to me, sent it to the Wadcast account, and here it is, Freedom 1776. He did this one, and wearing a 30-pound vest, 100 FB sit-ups. I don't know what FB is. 100 push-ups, 100 air squats, 100 speed ropes or double unders, 100 seal flutter kicks, 100 air dyne reps. I guess would that mean calories? I would say.
Yeah.
100 snatches at 95, 100 crunches, 100 jump ropes, 100 air dyne reps, 100 mountain climbers, 120 seal flutter kicks.
Now, what's the intent?
I don't know.
It's like intensity over what? Like volume? Just like an hour worth of work?
He said it was funny. I had a group of guys all ready to go and do this with me up until the morning of the workout. They all bailed, and I did it alone. I played songs about America and the national anthem a few times from a speaker. I carried in a backpack. People came out to take pictures with me and gave me water. Best 4th of July I can remember. This is Damian Dambra. I don't understand. He said 5.56 run carrying the symbol of freedom wearing the 30-pound vest. I'd like to know what his time is. That's just that volume. You'd be sore for the rest of your life.
No, yeah, absolutely.
That's brutal.
Yeah, dead.
That's a funny workout. That is like us with our race when we did our 68-mile race. And we're like, hey, come on, everyone, we're going to do it. And like 5 people showed up. Nobody shows up for stuff like that.
Exactly.
Apparently they're doing it again. Has Hunter tried to recruit you?
for a long race? No, he knows I don't run with him.
Yeah, 68 miles. I did it with him last year. And they're doing it again October 24th. If anybody is interested, message me at wadcastpodcast@yahoo.com. I might ride a mountain bike in it this year and not do it. It was brutal. I was hurting for it was like the flu afterwards. Jacob, thanks for doing the show. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can just Google me or find me on Instagram. It's very easy. I'm probably the only other Jacob Heppner who owns an Instagram handle like that. Lives in Asia. I've asked for his account handle, and he won't give it to me.
Oh, brutal. We can terrorize him. We could terrorize him. You want the fans?
I offered him $5.
Oh yeah. Some guy tried to sell me IFT. He just wrote to me. He's like, I own IFT.com. And I, have eddyift.com, and he goes, I'll sell it to you for $5,000. And I go, how about you just give me your address, and I come over and beat the shit out of you. Well, thanks for doing the show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Check us out everywhere. iTunes, YouTube now. Brand new. This is our first episode that's ever going to be YouTubed. So, yeah. So, and thank you, Jacob, and good luck. Good luck at the games. I'll be cheering for you. You're one of my favorites, so we're hoping you crush it. And thanks for doing the show. All right, later.